Hey guys. So happy Easter. Tired. But happy Easter to you guys. So I'm reading this book. I'm doing a book review on Powernomics. So I didn't get through everything, but the stuff that I'm reading just in chapter 1, okay, already got me thinking. The first few words. If you don't have this book, get this book by Claude, Powernomics, the National Plan to Empower Black People, or Black America. So the first chapter says racism, monopolies, and inappropriate behaviors. It says, here's a narrative. It says, Alice, what road do I take? The cat says, where do you want to go, Alice? Alice says, I don't know. So the cat says, well, it doesn't matter which road you take. So just from right there, and this has just got me thinking of, people that I train, people that I coach, people that, want to do business. They always say they don't know, right? So if they don't know what business they want to start, it doesn't matter what business you want to start, right? If you don't know, if you want to build a legacy for your family, it doesn't matter if you build a legacy or not, right? If you want to build wealth and you don't know how you want to build wealth, it doesn't matter, right? So this right here basically stuck out to me. Like, I was like, wow, that is true. Because when I ask people, what do they want? And they're like, I don't know. Then it doesn't matter what you get. You get everything that you deserve because you don't know what you want. This is deep. This is deep, right? So it goes on to say, let me read some things, okay? It goes on to say, Black American is increasingly sensing that something is wrong. They question whether or not they are on the right road. A comparative analysis on our socio-economic conditions shows that blacks have entered the new millennium much the same way they entered the previous 4 centuries as an impoverished, powerless, and neglected people. Since there have yet to be any programs and public policies specifically offered to eliminate the plight of the black masses, their future, like their past, looks bleak. So this is from Claude, right? Powernomics, right? And it's not that, he's saying that we can't. He's just saying that we've been on this road, right, to reparations, or we've been on this road to recovery since the 1800s, and we still haven't recovered. Angel Rich, she's a black girl that developed an app. She has, what's the name of her company? Wealthy Nation, I think. And she said that we only moved up 4 cents. So from the 1800s, whatever minimum wage was, to the 21st century, Black America only moved up 4 cents. From getting 63 cents on a dollar to now getting 67 cents on the dollar. We only moved up 4 cents, guys, since the 1800s. Okay, so let's go on to this, right? And it says, what it says? It is extremely difficult for black people to progress when the same hands that held the whip still holds the wealth. The same hand that held the whip when we was getting whipped in the 16, 17, and 1800s as slaves holds the wealth. Let me read something else. Okay. The new concept of race established superiority on the basics of who controlled the wealth, power, and resources at a particular time in history. Wealth, power, and privilege became the prerogatives of non-blacks. Through intellectual sleight of hand, race became synonymous with the term species in the mid-1800s. At that time, Charles Darwin developed a concept, biological race, and his origin of species, and it quickly became popular, often called the survival of the fittest. Darwin's theory, as well as a number of other quasi-scientific concepts, were used by educators, politicians, and religious leaders to justify black slavery and establish a qualitative ranking of inherited genes and human fitness. This is sad, guys, okay? Each race, according to this, all right, and this is for black people, each race, we have a black race, we have a black race, we have a white race, we have an Asian race, we have a Hispanic race, we have a Latino race. Each culture is in the race, right, to the finish line, right? Whites are in the race together to the finish line. Asian are in the race to the finish line, right? Latinos and Indians and Pakistanis and all the cultures, they're in the race to the finish line. This thing says racism, a race without a finish line. He's saying that blacks, we don't have a finish line, right? Because we don't even get together as a black race to run the race, right? Because in the 1800s, we wasn't even thought of to even run the race or be a competitor in the race to either win or lose. We were just the prize. We were the prize. So we didn't get the privilege to actually run in the race, to either have the option to win or lose, because we were the prize. All the other races were racing to get to us. Meanwhile, we're not even racing to get to us. We're not even racing to unify, and we're not even racing to come together, right? But every other race is racing to get to us. And we're racing to get to the other races that don't even like us. And the only reason the other races want to get to us is because they want our money, right? We want our money. Right? He also said something else too. He said, these groups have not been, I'm going to go from the beginning. Says, members of ethnic class, gender, disabled, religious, Spanish language, sexual orientation groups have not been treated in a manner equal to blacks. This nation has never enacted and supported public policies and laws that have denied non-black access to its nation's educational, political, social, and economic system. These groups have not been customarily lynched, castrated, exploited, and denied the fruits of their labor. Black are the only groups of people forced to practice capitalism without capital in the richest and most capitalistic nation on the planet. These facts, coupled with the majority society, total unwillingness to approve corrective actions and reparations for descendants of the black slaves, revealed the true nature of racism against black people. Racism and other legacies of slavery predetermined the success of black American as a group. One of the most glaring examples of inherited inequality is the wealth distribution. Black America's percentage of ownership in a nation's wealth remains as it was in the 1860s on the eve of Civil War. At that time, when nearly every black person in America was either a full slave or semi-slave, blacks owned 1/2 of the nation's wealth. The emancipation of enslaved black is no longer since rendered social justice and economic recompense. Today, more than 140 years later, we are 100% free, quote unquote, yet black Americans still own only 1/2 of the nation's wealth. Today's the income of blacks as compared to whites has regressed to the level it was at the end of 1960. Approximately 38% of the black population is beneath the poverty line, and the other third is marginal above the poverty line. The limited assets that black Americans most often have, such as automobiles, personal effects, depreciate rather than increase in value or appreciate in value. Approximately 38% of black of the black population is beneath the poverty line, and another 1/3 is marginal, which is just above the poverty line. The limited asset that black Americans most often have, such as automobiles, such as homes, and personal effects, depreciate rather than appreciate over time. The typical white family is more economically stable and secure. I was just reading this paragraph to my daughter. The typical white family is more economically stable and secure. Approximately 80% of the nation's economic assets are frozen within the dominant white society and is passed on from one generation to the next. One generation to the next in such forms as stocks, bonds, land, businesses, trust accounts, endowments, foundations like nonprofits, and insurance policies. Therefore, white children are privileged to enter the world with 87% of the resource they need to succeed in life already in their families, race, communities, businesses, schools, government, and social organizations. Thus, succeeding generations of whites can access these wealth resources over and over and over and over and over again. Wealth is what? What is wealth? Wealth refers to the net value of a person, a group, or community, less liabilities or debt at a given point in time. It is stored value. Income, in contrast, refers to a flow of dollars over a period of time. With rare expectations, most blacks are so marginalized that they own and control little wealth or resources anywhere, including their own neighborhoods. The ancestors of enslaved blacks were forced to concentrate simply on surviving. Pursuing civil rights and integration. They had little to bequeath, or something like that, to their descendants. Even though they succeeded in their social and civil rights effort, their children cannot inherit welfare, food stamps, public housing, or a good job. If you guys do not get this book, okay, and start to build some assets for your children, okay, your children will be either under the poverty line or just right at the poverty line. Okay, this is for black people. If you do not, okay, start to build some assets, right? Businesses, that's why I talk about starting a business. Stocks is why I talk about investing. Bonds, lands, endowments, insurance policies. I talk about all of this stuff. I'm not just saying, oh, start a business. No, start a business. Also get some stocks, also get some trust accounts, also have an insurance policy for your kid, get you some assets, some land, get you a house, get you, some gold, silver, right? So that you can hand these things down to your kids. That's why I have an Amazon class. Amazon is starting a business that can generate you income where you can go get stocks and go get different assets, put it in your company's name, something that you can actually own. So when you die now your kids have access to the wealth that you started to build for them. And then now they have the opportunity to go and build upon that. If you're not giving them nothing to build upon, they will be right under the poverty line or right at the poverty line or worse. Again, Black America, we got to take this thing seriously. That's why I can't have a job. To me, it makes no sense. A job is not allowing me to build nothing. A job does not give me a peace of mind. A job does not allow me to think. A job does not allow me to go and read and pick up books that I need to put information in my head, right? That's not what jobs are designed for, okay? It says the ancestors of enslaved blacks were forced to concentrate simply on surviving. How many of you are just focused right now on surviving? How many of you just want to get by? How many of you just happy with just paying your bills? That is surviving. Meanwhile, approximately 80% of the nation's economic assets are frozen within the dominant white society and is passed on from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. Meanwhile, 38% of black people are under the poverty line and another third are at the poverty line. Okay? So that's more than 50% of blacks, guys, in America, okay, are impoverished, under the poverty line, or right at the poverty line. That is terrible. Again, what are you leaving to your kids? What asset are you building? Your job is not an asset, right? Getting books and resources like this, guys, and reading it, and not just reading the information, but just taking action. Starting a business. You have your job, but you start a business, okay? Because now your business is now your asset. That's why when people come and take my classes in my Financially Lit Academy, I make them set up a business. I make them create their own S Corp or their own LLC so that you can have your own. Now you have your kids as your employees or your shareholders or whatever, because now you can hand that down. You cannot hand a job, what he said. You cannot hand down welfare, food stamps, public housing, or a good job. I was just telling my daughter this. Indians, Arabs, and Chinese people come to America to create businesses, not look for public housing, not look for a good job, not look to inherit food stamps and welfare. They're looking to get stocks, bonds, lands, businesses, trusts, accounts, okay, endowments, foundation, and insurance policies. All this is learned, guys. All of this stuff is learned. This is learned behaviors. This is learned knowledge. We was not privileged to learn this. So as you get older and as you become more wiser, because as you grow, you're supposed to become more wiser. And if you're not becoming more wiser, guess what? You're going to keep telling your kid to go look for a good job. You're going to keep telling your kid to get on welfare and food stamps and Section 8 and all that other bullshit that keeps you impoverished and under the poverty line. Meanwhile, 80% of the white people, 80% of white babies are already born into, let me read it, approximately 87% of the nation's economic assets are frozen within the dominant white society and are passed from one generation to the next, as such as stocks, bonds, land, businesses, trusts, accounts, endowments, foundations, and insurance policy. Therefore, white children are privileged to enter the world with 87% of the resources that's needed to succeed in life already in their families, race, communities, business, schools, governments, and social organizations. Thus, succeeding generations of whites can access these wealth resources over and 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 over again. Meanwhile, the ancestors of enslaved blacks were forced to concentrate on just surviving. I can't help everybody, and I don't want to help everybody, right? I just want to help a few people before I die. I just want to help a few people open up their mind. I want to just help a few people create a legacy. I just want to help a few people create some wealth. Get some insurance policies, get your own business, get your own EIN number, have something that you can own, start your own businesses, and start investing in real estate and silver and gold and stocks. I'm listening to the book right now called Rich Dad Cash Flow. I think it's the cash flow, stock cash flow, or cash flow from stocks or whatever, right? And he's talking about how the stock market is very liquid. It's more liquid than real estate. It's more liquid than gold. It's more liquid than oil. It's more liquid than silver. Okay? It's more liquid than businesses, because you can put money into a stock today and the stock can go up in 1 year by 50, 60%. And guess what? You can make 50 to 60% on your money. A business is different. You start a business and you work the business, right? And you reap the rewards of your labor, right? But with a stock, guys, all you're doing is putting your money in and then just watching it. There's no work involved, no real work. I mean, just of course the studying and the research, but there's no real money. I mean, no real work involved, no hard work, no hard labor. This is how the rich keep getting richer. You got 100 million, you got an asset pay you 4%. Guys, you're making 4 million a year just living, right? Meanwhile, black people always looking to work hard because our ancestors, okay, we're focused on surviving. So it trickles down after generation, after generation, after generation, after generation, and generation and generation, and nobody breaks the fucking curse. I broke the curse. Fuck that. I broke the curse. I got assets. I got life insurance. I got a business, right? I got my own business that I can hand down to my children. I got some money. I got some peace of mind. I got some time, right, that I can spend reading to educate myself. I have time to spend to learn how to invest better and grow my money more. I'm breaking that fucking cycle. You got to say, am I going to break the fucking cycle, or I'm just going to have my kids fall into it too? And if you are, you got to start now. You can't keep saying, oh, I'm going to keep sending my kids to college and hopefully they do right. No, they won't do right. No, the system won't do them right. Right? You'll be up to here in fucking student loan debt saying, oh, you know, I just wanted my kid to get a good education. No, you educate them. You spend the time and you get the education and you go educate them. Chinese people teach their kids. European people teach their kids. Arab people teach their kids and provide jobs for them. Right? All black people want to do is, oh, I want to get a good job. I want to get good benefits. Why not create your own job? Why not create your own good benefits? Why not create a peace of mind for you and your family? Too many black people are upset, got anxiety, depression, can't win, right? They losing so much they don't even know what winning looks like, right? I told my cousin yesterday, I said, you win with a team, you lose by yourself. So if the black people, we're all in this race together and we can't see each other as our brothers and our sisters, we will never win this race, guys, that we're trying to run. All right, white people, they get together, they have meetings. Chinese people get together, they have meetings on how their race needs to go forward. Right? Arabs have meetings on how they need this race how their race need to go forward. Black people, all they do is gossip. Post on social media, read memes, go to the club, pop bottles, smoke weed, look rich and broke. Me and my kids and my husband, we have meetings. What can we do to help our family become better? What can we do as a family to add value to this family? What can we do as a family to go add value to others? What can we do as an individual to go help our friends, our followers, our subscribers, or whatever? This is the stuff me and my kids and my spouse talks about. I even talk about this stuff with my grandparents and my dad and my daughter dad. So again, Powernomics is definitely a powerful book. This should be taught in junior high school. Kids should be reading this in 5th grade. If you got a 5th grader, make them read it. Right? Stop just scrolling on social media. right? Stop worrying about Easter. Stop worrying about, Christmas and, birthdays and 4th of July and all that shit. None of that shit helps you build wealth. That just makes you feel good for the time. None of that stuff helps you build an asset. That just makes you feel good. See, black people, we use money to feel good. White people, Arabs, Palestinians, Chinese, they use their money, right, for economic purposes. The reason that money is designed for economic capitalism, trading, right? Not to feel good, right? So again, like I said, I can't help everybody. I can only help those who are willing to listen to me. And if you're not in my Black Wealth class, I talk about stocks, bonds, life insurance, starting businesses for $20 a month. In May, I'm going to $25 a month. But for $20 a month, okay, once a month, I am showing you and giving you the resources that you need, right? Instead of you trying to look and be all over the place, leverage my brain for $20. Let me show you how to start a business, set up an LLC, what stocks and stuff like that to look into. All right, blackwealth101.net. If we never get up on the race, guys, and really start understanding, okay, that this race is for us to win together, but we got to do it together. We can't do it separate. White people doing it together. Chinese doing it. You go to the Chinese restaurant, they hire their Chinese people. You go to Arab stores, they got the Arab people. Black people don't even got enough businesses to even hire each other. And then if you see a black business, they got white people. They done hire white people. They done hired Chinese people to do shit. They done hired, Asians to do shit. They done hired, Arabs to do shit. It's sad, guys. We're not running this race together. We need to be. We are far behind. While the other races, they are way ahead, and all they're focused on is growing their race and their race winning. Their race starting a legacy. Their race building wealth and continuing. All we worried about is drugs and guns and Cardi B. And Chanel shoes and Chanel bags and weaves and nails and eyelashes. And we broke to death. Over 50% of black people, guys, are either under the poverty line or right at it. And $50,000 a year, if you're an adult, if you're a black person and if you make $50,000 a year or under, you are under the poverty line. You are under the poverty line. How? Because if you make $50,000 a year, the government takes 40% from you, so you really only bringing in $32,000 a year, which accounts to what, $2,000, maybe $2,500 a month. That is no money. You got kids to take care of, you got a spouse to take care of, you got a house, you got bills. You can't never win with $2,500. You need at least $5,000 to $6,000 a month, whether it's between you and your spouse or you by yourself. The problem is if you're a single mom, you're even in a worse position because it's only one income that you have. If you have a spouse, you're in a little better position because now it's two incomes coming in. At least those two incomes can add up to $6,000 a month. At least $6,000 a month gross. That means after taxes, right? Or whatever, right? That means now you got $6,000. You can pay your bills and you can build a business and build an asset. Right? But if you're not making at least $6,000 a month, according to society, the government, the white counterparts, you are in poverty. You can't get ahead. You playing catch up all the time. And then you play catch up for year after year after year because you only are in survival mode. People tell me every time, oh, Tanisha, I'm going to save money to get into your class. Or, you know what, Tanisha, when our money get right, I'm going to start a business. Your money will never get right. Because if your money has not been right in the last 20 years, don't worry about it getting right in this next year, right? If you never saved up $1,500 or if you never saved up $2,000, don't worry about trying to do it now because you're not just going to miraculously do it. It's not just going to happen by osmosis, right? Like, oh, yeah, now I want to get into this class. Oh, I'm going to save $1,500. It ain't just going to happen like that, right? If you've been broke your whole life, You're going to be broke for the rest of your life if you don't sacrifice. People rather pay their bills first than invest in themselves. It's the dumbest thing. Your bills keep you broke. Investing in yourself allows you to have hope. But people just keep wanting to be broke and stay broke. Again, people are in survival mode and not wealth mode, abundance mode, getting together to run the race mode. People are just in survival mode. So when they got bills, oh, I gotta pay my bills, and then you stay broke. That's 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, you're broke. Then your kids broke. Now you have a generational broke family. Nobody gets ahead because nobody sacrificed. Nobody sacrificed the mortgage for 5 months that kept you broke anyway. No one sacrificed the student loan for a year that kept you broke anyway. No one sacrificed not going out to eat and buying Louis Vuitton and shit and Gucci. No one sacrificed. Everybody was using the money just to feel good. No one wanted to stop smoking weed for a year to go win. Nobody. So everybody becomes the same person. Everybody start, now I'm 35, I gotta borrow money from my mom. My mom 55, she gotta borrow money from my grandmother who's 75. My grandmother who's 75, now I gotta borrow money from me who I'm 35. Who the fuck breaks the cycle? Who says enough of this? Enough of us borrowing money all the time. Enough of us, being broke. Enough of us, trying to go to these jobs that don't even like us, that makes us sick. Enough of these jobs that's just treating us the way the fuck they want to treat us. Who says enough of this shit? Who says it? I said it. I said enough of this shit. Fuck this job. I got rid of this job. Fuck that job. And I have had to create my own. And I'm in a position to help my children create their own. And I'm in a position to help other people to create their own. Simple. I'm about to sign my little cousin up right now in my business. Because she's sick of looking for a job that's going to pay her fucking minimum wage. And she can't get ahead that way. I'd rather you bust your ass every day to build your business, an asset for you and your family, than be trying to go look for a job to help someone else build an asset for their family. Powernomics. Get this book. Just like Alice in Wonderland, Dr. Claude Anderson, in this new book, Powernomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America, gives the reader a chance to follow racism, to see how far down the rabbit hole it goes. The cure is about truth. The true nature of and solutions to our radical dilemma. It requires 3 doses. I'm done. Go to blackwealth101.net. Okay, it's my course. I designed it. I created it from all of my research that I did over the years. I put it in a platform where you can now go through it. There's maybe about 12 different videos. And I got over 100 pieces of resources that you guys can tap into. If you don't start now, when? If not you, then who? blackwealth101guys.net.